phrases, the trademarks of Eddie Waring.
1 ton of rugby you're looking at there. Meat, brawn, muscle, brain, a lot of it. And up and under. Steve Crooks, it's a beauty up and under. And it's a try. You can sense and feel that it's just on a thin edge. Big George going for the early bath, as to say. And away he goes. Getting up. He's got a bit of the Wembley breeze into him. They won't stop down very long, won't they? He's down again. He's only a short fellow. He hasn't very far to fall. Bradford making the attack. It's something before half-time would be very useful, but dropped the ball. I think he was dropping it to him, but Grace dropped it and opened up the chance. Oh, a nice dummy by Mal Aspey. Will anybody catch him? Will he get tackled? He does get tackled, but the winger is up running after him. Bentley's running after him, and what a sensational try!
I would second that.
Eddie Waring for Prime Minister. How do you fancy that, Eddie?
No, thank you. You can have that. I'll have the good jobs.
Eddie, you always bring to your commentating a sense of enjoyment and real pleasure. It must have been this way all the way through your life, because rugby league has been your life, hasn't it?
Oh, very much so. From the early days as a youngster, I was taken to my first match at the age of 5 by my father. And I trialled curiously with Notts Forest. But not Notts Forest for me. I love rugby league from a little lad onwards. Still love it.
And of course, a lot of people don't realise that you managed a very successful club in the war.
Yes, I did. We went to Australia and with a touring team straight after the war. At the time, I'd been manager here, at least for a short while, and the Australian trip was just as they would say, magic. And the fare was £13, 11 and threepence. It was an official boat, but when we got a free mantle, we were all turfed off, and we had to go across the Nullarbor Plain, and that was a pretty bad job in those days, before we settled it. Great days in Australia. I'm thinking of going next year, actually.
What, and doing some work?
No, enjoy myself. Recap, as they say.
Eddie, I remember as a young reporter, when I was in the Manchester newsroom, you were working on News from the North, and you were a very straight reporter in those days, and yet you changed your style for commentating, and it's been very effective. Was this a conscious change of style?
I don't think so. I think it would result in somebody saying, well, you know, you were so awful tonight, or I don't fancy what you did, and then you veer into something that I like. I remember at a match when you were there, you were running. Was it 220 yards or something, and we were doing the match, and we couldn't see you for dust.
I think it was a bit longer than that, actually. It seemed longer anyway, Eddie. These famous phrases, though, you've developed, they've become national catchphrases, in fact. This is the language of the dressing room, isn't it? And you brought it to commentating.
Yes, I think that would be right. Breaking away from the norm, as they say. I mean, if you to ask me to give you a list, I don't think I could at this moment, but I would during the afternoon.
Have you ever seen yourself as a sort of ambassador for the game?
Yes. Not in as big a sense as the way you say it with emphasis, but as means of development. And this match we're covering, indicates the greatness now that so many rugby union players come in. The badness, by and large, has gone out of the game. The supporters now are generally very good. I know we had a bit of trouble a couple of weeks ago, but I think that was a passing thing. I don't think that'll happen today. And generally, I feel it's broadened an outlook on a game that I thought was magic when I was about 4 or 5 years of age.
Eddie, looking back, when did you first start in television?
1948.
Really?
Now, there'll be a lot of argument about that. Briefly, we'll explain that it was a match. There was no television in the north. It was just down south, and it was a cup final. I can't remember who the producer was, and I can't remember, I remember the score. It was 8-6 or something like that. And then 2 years later, it came north, and then, of course, it had the great run-through when the New Zealanders came over, and they set it alight. So it was 48. People will argue with you, but I think in the archives they'll find that what I'm saying is right.
But, of course, it was when we started Grandstand in 1958 that Rugby League really became established as a national television sport.
Television made the game then, from then on, because it went wide in the broadest sense of wanting to develop spectators.
Looks like a knock on, but the referee's not giving it, and Terry O'Grady coming away. And there's an extra man here, there's an extra man, but to Boston. Boston must score if he gives it to Sullivan, and he does.
So well, we've been digging around a bit, Eddie, and I seem to remember you in Grandstand. I think the first rugby league... Well, no, it wasn't. It was the second, I think. You arrived on the front page of Radio Times, didn't you?
Yeah, I did indeed. What is more, I've got one. Would you like to see it?
I thought you might have that around somehow.
Yes, it was 1960, and curiously Hull were one of the teams that were playing Wakefield Trinity, and Her Majesty the Queen was there, and it was a right royal occasion.
I always think about you, Eddie, a famous night at Odsal Stadium when there was a Rugby League Challenge Cup replay. Do you remember that night?
I do indeed. There were over 100,000, and it took me 7 hours to get out of the ground and get back to Leeds. And it took others going back to Lancashire just as long. It was an amazing situation that all these spectators were really caught in this great big Odsal Bowl.
More than 102,000 people set a new World Rugby League record when they pack Odsal Stadium, Bradford, to watch the Challenge Cup final replay between Halifax in hoop jerseys and Warrington. A penalty to Halifax. Griffiths, with a superb kick, sends it over the bar to make the score 5-4. Warrington try to break away again, but the Halifax boys fight back grimly. They've only a few minutes left if they're to turn the tables. Suddenly, Helm tries a burst through, and a magnificent run sends him tumbling over the line to clinch Warrington's victory. Selected as the man of the match, Helm is awarded the Lance Todd Trophy. Onto the pitch swarm the spectators, all 102,000 of them.
I am right in saying, Eddie, that's the largest crowd ever to watch a sports event in an English stadium.
Without any doubt, they reckon that 120 to 130,000 people were there. Obviously, they didn't pay, but they certainly were stuck in Lancashire for hours after. Those who wanted to get back into Yorkshire couldn't do so.
The Rugby League Challenge Cup final at Wembley must have been produced some marvellous moments for you too. I mean, Wembley is still something special, isn't it?
Oh, yes, things like Vollenhoven's try and the Don Fox missed goal, poor lad.
And this amazing game of rugby league, and nobody knows who's going to take it. This is the trying to goalie here could do something. Oh, it's going over for a try! It's a try! Sensational last-minute try! Sensational last-minute try! 11-10, and all on this goal, and Don Fox to kick. What a grandstand finish this is. He's missed it! He's missed it! It's on the ground, he's missed it! Well, and there goes the whistle for time. What a dramatic, everybody's got their head in their hands, and he's sure in tears. He's in tears. He's a poor lad.
Poor Don. Do you think it made much of an impact on the rest of his life? I mean...
Oh, a lot. I'm quite sure. I'm quite sure. I mean, if he's watching now, you see, he'll say, oh, no, not again, sort of thing. Oh, yes, it must have been a blow to him, because he was a good footballer.
Yes, he was,
He was a very, very good footballer. You used to come down and see them, so you know his qualities. They were good.
Eddie, you must be retiring with some regret at a time when rugby league seems to be becoming national. I mean, the Fulham Football Club has got away to a tremendous start this season. Others are going to follow. Do you see rugby league really developing now as a national event?
Yes, it's going great guns. It's got to go. This conversion of the rugby union follows now rugby league. Every week somebody's applying to go into the rugby league. That it's a tremendous breakthrough, and I'm sure they'll take full advantage of it and see it in its rightful place, the top of the form, as it were.
Just away from rugby league for a moment, Eddie. I mean, you've had various other activities in television. One not so well known to start with, and that was wrestling. Do you remember being selected by the BBC as a wrestling commentator and being sent abroad?
I do indeed. I went to Paris and to the, actually, what was the name? It was, they had winter sports and the sulkies and all this sort of thing. But this wrestling where it really took on. And I took two friends with me from the BBC, and I got the whiff that one was going to land in our lap. And I made sure that it wasn't me, that I had an appointment.
What I didn't know, though, was that you've had a connection with wrestling in the past. Now, we've had a letter, look down at your monitor, from a man called Cliff
Oh,
Waring. I don't
no.
know whether he's a relative. Comes from
No, no.
Liversedge in West Yorkshire. And he says, in the difficult times of the 1930s, Eddie, along with Arnold Foster and Harry V. Smith, formed a PT and amateur wrestling club. Took a few of us off the streets at £1 a week, eventually
Yes.
enabling me.
I plead guilty. It was like a club, a Sunday school club. They were fine lads, and they went abroad on all sorts of jaunts.
Yeah, well, he says it in the letter. It's taken a long time to say thanks to Eddie, but happy retirement.
Oh, thanks to him.
Now, quite apart from rugby league and wrestling, you've also been involved from time to time in light entertainment. There's been the Knockout series. How
Yeah.
did you get involved in that, Eddie?
I was in Australia and got a message from Barney Colan to say they were starting a new programme, and would I like to be interested? Thought it was up my street, and so when I got back, I saw Barney, and he said yes. It's a Knockout, and it's been going now. I think it's in the 16th year, something like that.
And you've also appeared as a guest in programmes like The Goodies and the Morecambe and Wise Show.
Oh, yeah. Yes, quite a lot of those.
We feel lonely and we long for the fair and gentle sex. We would like to feel the feeling of some arms around our necks. We feel hungry as the wolf out fighting men with riding hood. What don't we feel? We don't feel good.
And it's the winner! Right! Oh, it's a flag! Right!
Oh! What a magnificent performance. Here's this magnificent trophy. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That poster that said Eddie Waring for Prime Minister, I mean, with the Prime Minister, you're one of the most impersonated figures in the country. Is that something that irritates, or do you enjoy it?
Neither. It doesn't irritate, and it doesn't give me any particular joy. It's just one of those things that happen. I was at number 10 recently, and that's throwing the line, isn't it? And I thought they might have asked me then about it, but they didn't. They were in a hurry, too. But I was there.
Right,
No,
Eddie?
it's not a development. It just sort of happens, as you know.
And when you put the microphone down today for the last time on a grandstand commentary, what are you going to do? I mean, what's the future hold for you?
Oh, it holds a lot. I could say the usual thing. I hope to have a book out very shortly and this sort of thing. But I think it'll something that goes along. I don't want to make it hard and fast that I must do that or I must do that at the other. And with that in mind, I think I shall first of all get myself reorientated to know that on a Saturday I don't have to go if I want. I don't have to go and cover a match. And I think that will bring added things that at this stage I don't know about. I'm very open-minded on this.
Anyway, you've still got one to cover. I hope they
That's
produce
right.
a real good one for you, Eddie.
Should be a cracker, this one.
And I daren't call you Uncle Eddie like I used to do, dare I?
No, if not, we'll see it after.
Okay, well, enjoy it, Eddie. I hope it's a good last match.
Thanks for the way you've looked after it, and good luck.
Thanks a lot. It's the last big match of